interesting matchup today. The Blue Jays have turned things over dramatically in the offseason, and they brought in a couple of guys that are going to have a big impact. And today's battery, Russell Martin and Drew Hutchison, are going to have a lot to do with just how well the Blue Jays play this season.
That's right. Let's start with Drew Hutchison. I think he is ready to take the next step in his career and that upward climb in his career. And for me, it started last season in the second half of the baseball season. Batters over the last 2 months of last season hit just .219 off of Drew. His fastball command was a lot better, and I thought his slider had bigger break to it. So I look for him to take the next step. For Russell Martin, the Blue Jays knew they had a staff full of young pitchers, and they wanted a leader. So early in the offseason process, they went out and signed Russell Martin. He's going to work before, during, after games with these pitchers. He's a true leader and somebody who can really spark this team.
We have a great starting matchup today. Both of these starters, Drew Hutchison and Masahiro Tanaka, making their first opening day start for their respective teams. Hutchison faced Tanaka last September 21st, and he would like to erase the memory. That start lasted just 4 innings. Jamie? afternoon. Lots of excitement here as both of these ball clubs anticipating a great season in 2015. This has always been a tough stop for the Blue Jays. They have lost 17 of their last 20 games here in this ballpark, and they're looking to turn things around dramatically starting right here. And why not the leadoff man, Jose Reyes?
They've got a great offense, and I think they showed that in spring training, that this is an explosive offense. And yeah, they want to put the past behind them, the problems that they have had here at Yankee Stadium. You were talking about the problems they've had in the one-loss record. They snapped a streak of 17 straight losses in this ballpark last season.
And the man that was on the mound to snap that streak was Drew Hutchison, today's opening day starter for John Gibbons. Joe Girardi and John Gibbons exchanging lineup cards. Girardi in his 8th season with the Yankees. He's 50 years old now. Fielding Colbert is going over the grounds rules here. Russell Martin had a very busy weekend in Montreal as he returned to the city in which he grew up. He is anxious to get this season underway. He knows this stadium well. Pat, he played here 2 years with the Yankees.
2 very good years, 2 years that got the Yankees into the playoffs. I think Russell Martin was the happiest guy to get away from Montreal, not because he was going to be away from his family and his friends and being away from Olympic Stadium, but just all the demands that were put on him over the weekend. Now he can clear his mind, come here and get himself off to a good season in 2015.
Russell Martin couldn't have been more accommodating to the press and the fans while he spent his time in New York. Or in Montreal, but you can bet he's happy to be here in New York and get this season underway. He and Josh Donaldson were brought in to shore up this lineup. They're both everyday players, and you can count on them being in the lineup.
Yeah, they'll be in the lineup, and they've been on winning teams. John Gibbons was talking before the game today about Russell Martin, and we touched on it just now in the opening about all the young pitchers that the Blue Jays, they felt like they were going to have or have a chance to have in the rotation this year. So they recognized early on in the offseason that they wanted a guy behind the plate who had been there and who was a winner. And he is a winner.
Devin Travis will make the start at second base. He's 24 years old. He played in Double-A last year. And today, during Yankees batting practice, I called Devin over and introduced him to Mr. October. Reggie Jackson was on the field, and he's the first rookie to make a Major League debut on opening day since Eric Hinsky in 2002. So you can bet young Devin Travis is very excited about the opportunity to make his first Major League start right here in Yankee Stadium.
Don't you think that's where the veterans are very important to him this afternoon, just to calm his nerves down just a little bit?
You can see DeMarlo Hale taking him over to the Yankee lineup and reminding him about how they're going to play some of these Yankee hitters throughout the course of the day. The Yankees have taken the field. We are waiting now for the ceremonial first pitch, and it's going to be a very special first pitch here this afternoon. As the Yankees are looking into the dugout now, and you can see the players are on the field and the mound is vacant, and it will soon be occupied by an iconic native of New York. Joe Torre will throw out the first pitch. He was born in Brooklyn. He managed the Yankees for 12 seasons and took the Yankees to the postseason each of his 12 seasons. Joe Torre won 4 World Series here with the Yankees. There's the first pitch of the 2015 season for these two ball clubs, and we are about ready to kick it up.
Yeah, let's get it on. It's been a long time in spring training. Blue Jays have traveled all through Florida, up to Montreal for a couple of games. I think pointing to this day right here to unveil some of the players that they have picked up in the offseason, the maturation of some of their younger players, and I know John Gibbons is excited to get it on.
Let's take a look at the lineup for the Blue Jays, and it's a good one. Top of the order, very tough. Reyes, Martin, Bautista. Cleanup man is Edwin Encarnacion starting at first base. Josh Donaldson with 29 home runs a year ago. Gianni Navarro, kind of a surprise DH here this afternoon. The switch hitter is batting 6th ahead of Dalton Pompey, Kevin Pillar, and the rookie Devin Travis batting 9th, and they're set to take on Masahiro Tanaka.
Tanaka got off to a great start last year. He made the All-Star team, and this is his first opening day start in the big leagues. Now, the Yankees are going to be watching him very closely. Tanaka missed most of the second half last season with a slightly torn elbow ligament. His velocity is down this spring. He has not been able to pump it up there like he did last year with that fastball, but he's got that devastating slider there. His 20 starts, what he did last year, outstanding. You could make a case for him that he was the early favorite for the Cy Young Award before he got injured. Made a couple of starts at the end of the season. Was 3-0 against the Blue Jays last year.
Tanaka becomes just the 4th Japanese-born starter in Major League Baseball history. Let's take a look at the defense behind Tanaka for the Yankees. Lots of speed in the outfield. Brett Gardner, Jacoby Ellsbury, and Carlos Beltran, the veteran in right. Ellsbury and Beltran, both Gold Glovers. On the infield, you got a couple of Gold Glovers on the corner. Chase Headley at third, Martin Teixeira at first, and how about Didi Gregorius? He is taking place of Derek Jeter, the iconic Yankee shortstop, and he teams up with Stephen Drew at second. Behind the plate, it is Brian McCann in his second year with the Yankees, and as we mentioned, Masahiro Tanaka making his first opening day start for the Yankees.
Maybe the most watched player on the Yankees this afternoon is Didi Gregorius. For the first time in 20 baseball seasons, somebody else other than Derek Jeter is going to stand out at shortstop for the Yankees this year.
Reyes is in the box. Here's the first pitch of the 2015 season for these two teams, and it's a breaking ball in there for a strike, and we are underway. Reyes is 3 for 6 against Tanaka, including a leadoff home run last June right here in this ballpark.
And I think that's why you saw a breaking ball on the first pitch from Tanaka to Jose Reyes. If you remember that game that you were just talking about, first pitch of the game, Reyes put it in the seats in right field.
0-2. There's another splitter and a 3-pitch strikeout for Tanaka.
Tanaka had one of the highest whiff percentages, strikeout percentages with that splitter last season. At 44% of the time when he threw it for a strike, he got a strikeout. That time, that one just dropped right off the table for out number 1.
Tanaka made 3 starts against the Blue Jays last year, and the Jays scored in the first inning of each of those 3 starts. Russell Martin, his first at bat as the Blue Jay. There's been a lot of talk about velocity from Tanaka during the course of this spring. We'll keep an eye on that all day long.
And I think that's why the Blue Jay batters should really set their sights down low in the strike zone. Look for the low breaking ball. Look for the low splitter. There's another breaking ball, because I think the high fastball, because that velocity is down. He was only throwing 89 to 91 miles an hour with that fastball in spring training. He doesn't have that good four-seamer that he can get guys out with up in the strike zone, so look down.
Off the plate, just 90 miles an hour. Last year when Tanaka opened up against the Blue Jays at Rogers Center, his first major league start, he was throwing 93, 94 miles an hour.
And if you don't think 2 or 3 miles an hour make a difference, they certainly do, especially when you've got the type of splitter that he has. You can pick it up just a little bit easier.
This is what Russell Martin does very well. He'll make the pitcher work, and this is a very important spot in the Blue Jays lineup. Three-1 to Martin. Just on the outside corner.
Painted right there, just 90 miles an hour. And Tanaka is going to be on a pitch count because he didn't throw too much this spring. He had a late start. He's only around 90 pitches this afternoon, according to the Yankees.
Bouncing ball, Headley, little bobble in time to retire Russell Martin. 2 down. Chase Headley is a Gold Glover at third.
Certainly is, and he's really found a home here in New York. Came over here, got a game-winning hit in his first game with the Yankees. You're right, he's got great range at third base. The left side of the infield for the Yankees is so much better than what we saw last year.
Headley was picked up mid-season a year ago. Didi Gregorius has tremendous range at short. Here's Bautista. Goes after the first pitch and pops it into the seats. That was a fastball.
But just 91 miles an hour, and it was up. First time through the lineup here, the Blue Jays are going to have to pick up on that. And it isn't very hard, and he's got to make him get it down.
Better out of the zone low. Bautista just 1 for 9 in his head-to-head matchups with Tanaka. He has 13 career home runs in this ballpark and coming off another terrific season.
8 of those but last year alone for Bautista in this ballpark. He just loves hitting here, and I think it's the atmosphere in the history. Everything about Yankee Stadium, I think, brings out the best in Jose Bautista.
Little off-speed pitch, another splitter is tapped foul. It's now 2-2.
Lots of off-speed pitches so far here in the first inning. He's not going to blow the ball by you anymore. So
what do you do as a lineup to counteract that?
Look for an off-speed pitch. You can move up in the box. You can go the other way. There's so many different things that you can do offensively, but he is not throwing like we saw last year.
Slider. Good first inning for Tanaka. 3 up, 3 down with a pair of strikeouts. Jacoby Ellsbury will face Drew Hutchison when we come back. And his coaching staff anxious to turn that around. They'll get off today with a little bit different lineup. Ellsbury, Gardner, Beltran, Mark Teixeira, switch hitting first baseman, Brian McCann, Chase Headley, and then look where Alex Rodriguez is hitting. He's hitting in the 7th spot, and he's the DH, bottom of the order. Then the second baseman, Stephen Drew, and Didi Gregorius starting at shortstop.
That's the lineup that young Drew Hutchison will face this afternoon as he gets ready for his first opening day start of his big league career. There are his numbers last year. The 32 starts, I think, were very important. He's coming off Tommy John surgery. He made all 32 starts. He knows the Yankees better than anybody. He made 6 starts against the Yankees last year, had a 2-4 record against New York.
His last start, as we mentioned, September 21st in this ballpark. Defensively, how about this outfield? Kevin Pillar and the rookie Dalton Pompey in center. Jose Bautista, he knows this ballpark very well. The third baseman is the newcomer Josh Donaldson. Reyes and Devin Travis up the middle. Edwin Encarnacion gets the start at first base, and Russell Martin teams up with Drew Hutchison.
And John Gibbons wanted to get a little bit more offense into this lineup, so Edwin's going to get the start at first base this afternoon. Justin Smoke will come in the defense if the Blue Jays have the lead late in this ball game.
Here's the first pitch from Hutchison, up and in, and Ellsbury bails out of the way. That'll get everybody's attention.
Taking all the way. He was just fake bunting right there, just spinning around. He wanted to take a look at Drew Hutchison's first pitch, and he almost walked right into it.
Ellsbury is 5 for 11 against Hutchison. He has hit very well against the Blue Jays throughout his career. Drew Hutchison this spring had a good spring. He went 3-0 in the spring, but more importantly, He had a very focused spring training approach. He was just getting ready for the season, as opposed to last year when he had to make the team.
Yeah, I think he knew that he had one of the slots already nailed down before they came into spring training, that he was just getting himself ready. He had a chance to work on a few things. He wanted to work on his sinker just a little bit. He wanted to tighten up his slider just a little bit. But Drew has always been a fastball command guy. And I think that's what we need to focus on this afternoon. Can he spot that fastball? He's got to go up and down in the strike zone. He's got to go in and out with it also with that fastball, I think.
One thing you're going to see with all of these pitchers is just how much they rely on Russell Martin. He will be the conductor behind the plate, that's for sure. There's a breaking ball and a strikeout. First strikeout of the season for Drew Hutchison. This is the Hutchison family in the middle. That is Scott Hutchison, Drew's father, and on his right is the mom, Kelly, and she is a little bit nervous, you can bet. And on the left side of Scott Hutchison is Drew's sister, Katie. So they are here in the ballpark to see the first opening day start of their young son, Drew.
And you can take a breath now. First guy up, struck him out. Exhale.
This is Brett Gardner. He goes after the first pitch and drills it high and deep. Bautista at the wall, hauls it in. Flushing the leather right off the bat. Brett Gardner hit it hard on the line, and Bautista stayed right with it and hauled it in just before he slammed into the wall.
Gardner, a career .323 hitter against the Blue Jays in his career. He jumped all over that first pitch. Fastball down and a little in, and it looked like he was trying to yank that ball into the stands. But Bautista got a great jump on it, knew exactly where he was, reaches up and takes the brunt of that wall against that left shoulder.
This is Carlos Beltran. One more look at that Bautista effort in right. He knew he was going to slam into the wall, and you could see he
started bracing himself before he hit the wall.
Beltran fouls it into the seats down the left side. Beltran, one of the senior members of this ball club. This is an old ball team. Beltran will be 38 on April 24th, and he has been dealing with injuries the last several seasons. Good fastball, and he fights it off. Beltran had elbow surgery at the end of last season to clean up his elbow, which bothered him all year long.
So the numbers just weren't there. At least the numbers that we have seen from Beltran in the past. There are his career numbers.
No swing, says the umpire, third Paul Schreiber, as that slider was in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Beltran just 7 hits away from a milestone. 1,000 in the American League.
Another ball pulled foul. The Blue Jays play Beltran. Boy, he's a switch hitter. And the infield, you can see the 3 defenders on the right side of second base. Donaldson is straight away at shortstop. He's the third baseman. This off the end of the bat. Bautista took a step back, recovers in time. Good start to the game for Drew Hutchison. 3 up, 3 down in front of his family up from Florida. Hutchison gets some good
hitter for the New York Yankees. He's got a little bit of everything: slider, splitter, cutter, curveball, changeup, and fastball. And you note all the miles per hour in the variant of the miles per hour. The splitter, I think, is a very important pitch. They hit 153 against him last year with that. In 2014 with 2 strikes. He's going to go to that splitter 42% of the time. So you can eliminate everything else. Just sit on that splitter when you get the 2 strikes.
Edwin Encarnacion, the cleanup man. Tanaka retired the side in order in the first with a couple of strikeouts. Edwin was slowed by a back problem in spring training. Had a terrific season a year ago, 34 home runs to go along with Bautista's 35. This is a pretty potent 3-4.
Very. And I'm going to throw in number 5, also the guy sitting on deck for the Blue Jays. Edwin missed that time in spring training like you were talking about, and it messed up his timing just a little bit. He just wasn't there for a while.
He had 25 at-bats in the spring. There's Donaldson on deck in the 5th spot. Donaldson with 29 home runs a year ago for the Oakland Athletics.
And I think what we saw from Edwin, that second pitch, he took it all the way, and he wanted to get a good look at Tanaka.
Another strikeout and another slider. Blue Jays are going to have to shift gears quickly as Tanaka is throwing them a lot of off-speed pitches.
A lot of sliders and a lot of splitters. Here's the breaking ball right there. Last year, batters hit just 152 against that slider. He has struck out 3 of the first 4 batters in this ball game on a lot of off-speed pitches.
Josh Donaldson, the batter, 255. As we mentioned, 29 homers and 98 ribbies last season. Just going to have to look off speed against Tanaka.
Look off speed and just react to the fastball.
There's a splitter.
One. You know, it's so good. It comes out of his hand and it looks like a fastball. Halfway towards home plate, it starts tumbling and then tumbles out of the strike zone. If the Blue Jays can be very patient and recognize that low splitter, just take it. Run that pitch count up by Tanaka.
0-2. Ground ball. Headley gobbles it up at third. 5 straight retired by Tanaka to start this ball game.
Tanaka had 4 starts in spring training. I wouldn't classify him as dominant. You know, he did his thing. He got his strikeouts and he got his innings in. He only threw 14 2/3 innings in spring training. But it was enough for them to say, hey, you're our guy on opening day, breaking that streak by CC Sabathia.
Sabathia started the previous 6 opening day games for the Yankees. This is Deanna Navarro in the DH spot here this afternoon. Navarro had a good final tune-up in Montreal. He had a couple of doubles in that game against Cincinnati.
Ringing double to right field. And I asked Gibby this morning why Navarro was in the lineup. Says, hey, we need a little bit more offense. We have had our troubles against Tanaka last year. Just want to get a little bit more offense, another bat in the lineup.
We mentioned Tanaka went 3-0 against the Jays, so John Gibbons said, you know what, let's see if we can score some runs. So he's going to put as many bats in the order as he can. Navarro had a career season offensively last year, set highs in RBIs and base hits. He went around, and that splitter is diving early. See all the pitches, bottom of the zone. You got to set your sights low against Tanaka.
So why not look down there for it? And if he throws one up, just take it.
Another fastball. This one missed, and he talked about using more 2-seam fastballs this season, and that was the 2-seamer on that last pitch.
Trying to get a little bit more movement, trying to get his defense engaged just a little bit and take some of that pressure off that elbow. That one he reached back for with a little bit more. Joe Girardi was talking yesterday about the ability and to still use that four-seam fastball. He said as a catcher, you still have to be able to use that with Tanaka's other stuff. Don't forget about it.
3-2, 2 outs. Off the end of the bat, Headley tries to barehand it. That'll be the first hit of the ball game, an infield hit for Deanna Navarro.
Boy, he crossed up the defense that time. They had three infielders on the right side, and Chase Headley, the only defender on the left side of the infield, cued it off the end of the bat. He had plenty of time. I was surprised that he tried to barehand that ball.
That's a great point. He forgot who was running, and he tries to barehand it. He's got plenty of time to use the glove, and still has a chance to throw out Navarro.
When that ball comes off the bat like that with all that English, it's going to be spinning hard.
This is the rookie Dalton Pompey getting his first opening day start in center field. Pompey had a good spring, but really didn't finish up on a positive note. For the spring, he hit .290, but we saw him struggle at the end of the spring, and especially in Montreal, it looked like he was getting frustrated a bit.
Frustrated, and it looked like he was trying too hard. You know, when you try too hard at something, you're not going to succeed. Trying to force the game instead of letting the game come to him. So Brooke Jacoby, we had a shot of him talking to him on the bench saying, hey, relax, it's spring training. Take it one pitch at a time. Take it one at bat at a time.
What he did so well in spring training that impressed Brooke Jacoby was he was patient and made the pitcher come to him.
Instead of trying to force the action.
Ball on the strike to Pompey. There's a ball driven to right. Long run for Beltran. He's got room and hauls it in. Pompey hit it on the nose, but Beltran ran it down in right. Blue Jays leave a base runner. Navarro with the first hit of the season. He becomes the youngest opening day starter for the Blue Jays in franchise history. He's 24 years old, 227 days. He passes Todd Stottlemyre, who was the youngest when he made his start back in 1990.
It's pretty good young pitchers right there. Jim Clancy, Diamond Jim, and Dave Steve, of course, at 25. At one time, youngest. But it's Drew Hutchison's turn right here, and it's deserved. He has pitched well against the Yankees. And like we were saying in the opening, it looks like he is ready to take the next step in his career.
Well, and he mentioned how honored he was to be included on a great list of opening day starters. Anytime you open up a season, obviously, you have pitched well and deserve it. This is Mark Teixeira. He hits it down the left side. That's going to slice into foul territory. Teixeira's been plagued by injuries the last couple of seasons. Last year, he got off to a slow start, started to come around in the second half of the season. But when you look at Teixeira over the last 3 years, he's averaged 16 homers and 53 RBIs over those 3 seasons, and that's not the kind of production the Yankees signed up for.
That's not what they paid for right there. He was 30 and 100 easily. Injuries have some of the problems with that. He's tailor-made, I think, for this ballpark. His swing, especially from the left side, he's a switch hitter from the left side, how he drops that back shoulder and tries to lift the ball. Perfect for this ballpark.
Teixeira will turn 35 on April 11th. The Yankees are getting old. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rack it up. Fastball on the corner does the trick. Second strikeout of the afternoon for Drew Hutchison.
Let's take a look at the scouting report for young Drew Hutchison. What he throws: fastball, slider, changeup. And he came to spring training trying to work on a 2-seamer to try and get the ball on the ground just a little bit more. There are the miles per hour, how much they throw it. Getting that 2-seamer to get the ball on the ground, I think, is very important for Hutch. He's an extreme fly ball pitcher. Gave up a lot of home runs, a lot of fly balls. He wants to have quicker innings, quicker at-bats. That 2-seamer is important for him.
Brian McCann takes a strike. It's 1-1. McCann hit a pair of home runs against Hutchison last year in his first season with the Yankees. Boy, Drew Hutchison has quickened his pace,
right,
hasn't he?
Look how quick he is. He gets it and he goes.
Mark Burley has had an impact on this pitching staff for sure. The young pitchers watch him work quickly and have so much success. They all kind of have bought into that approach. 3-1.
Nice breaking ball and a fastball count.
Good fastball ties him up. It's popped up. Donaldson was playing in the shift, but he's got time to get there. 2 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. We mentioned this battery in our open. Drew Hutchison throwing to the Gold Glover, Russell Martin, and how they're going to have an impact in the Blue Jays' fortunes this summer.
And that was a great sequence, Buck. 3-1 to a home run hitter in McCann. He throws him a breaking ball for strike 2. Gets that in his mind and then pumps that fastball in the inner half, and he can't get the bat head out. Those are the little things, I think, between a catcher and a pitcher that are so important that help you win ball games.
This is Chase Headley, third baseman, trying to elevate this fastball just a bit too high. Pete Walker has been thrilled with working with Russell Martin. He says Martin is humble. He wants to learn. He came to me a lot in the spring and asked me about our pitching staff. This is going to drop in foul territory and into the seats. Russell Martin, 9 years in the major leagues, and he understands his primary role. That's as a catcher behind the plate to get the most out of his pitcher.
And what did he tell us in spring training? He takes pride in that. Loves to catch.
You see that little subtle point right there. He reminded Hutchison, you're going to throw a breaking ball, but I want you to bury it. Get it down, maybe even in the dirt. All of those things really free up a young pitcher.
Breaking ball, watch it right there. I want it down there. Concentrate on that.
Here's the 2-2. A little bit better. That's the spot he was looking for. A couple of strikeouts this inning. 3 so far for Drew Hutchison. He finished up strong a year ago. He's carried that into this start today.
Presented by the 2015 Honda CR-V, Motor Trend's 2015 Sport Utility of the Year.
View from outside Yankee Stadium. There's not many people outside because they're all inside watching the Yankees play. And how about that sign? Forgive 13. They got to get their letters straight, but I understand the message.
Did you think that was an upside down E? That's what I thought when I first saw it. Or a backwards Z, one or the other, but we got the message.
This is Kevin Pillar. He gets the start in left field. Pillar is now 26 years old, making his first opening day start.
Let's see if the Blue Jays get the message and start laying off those off-speed pitches that are out of the strike zone from Tanaka.
Lay off, bring it up. Once you set your sights down low as a hitter, you can really judge that ball when it's low. What makes Tanaka so effective when he's got that good high fastball is you have to cover so much of the strike zone up and down.
Change the eye level. Look up, look down. You know what you can do too when you look down? You can pick up that breaking ball a lot easier.
When you're throwing 90 miles an hour as opposed to 95, 96, the hitter doesn't have to start to swing as quick. Coming inside. He missed his spot. That's a fair ball past Headley down the left field line. Pillar makes the turn, and Gardner, one of the best left fielders in the game, gets the ball back in quickly to hold Pillar to a leadoff single.
Yeah, he uses his speed to get to that ball, and he plays it flawlessly off the wall. Brett Gardner had 5 outfield assists last season for the Yankees. Doesn't possess the greatest of arms, but when you can get to a ball quickly and get rid of it and be accurate, you're going to hold a guy who can run like Pillar to a single. Just out of the reach of Headley down the left field line, but a good play by Gardner in left field.
This is the rookie, Devin Travis, and you can bet his heart rate's about 130 right now. First major league at bat. The Blue Jays will play hit and run this part of the order, trying to get a runner in scoring position for the leadoff man Reyes, who's on deck.
Not a bad idea, especially if Travis can get ahead in the count.
Those numbers a year ago in Double-A with the Tigers. Travis had a good spring. He had 359 for the Blue Jays, led the team in hits. Of course, he had a lot of at-bats as he was really getting an opportunity to win the job.
There are the numbers right there. They can hit and run with them. He does a good job of going the other way with pitches.
Two and 0. This is a very good hit and run count, but at the same time, you might not want Travis to go after a borderline pitch 2 and 0.
I would wait. I would wait a pitch. Because of that right there. I'll take 3 and 0.
8 and 9 in this Blue Jays order for John Gibbons is going to be very important because they have one of the most potent top halves of the lineup in baseball.
We saw that in Montreal when the 8 and 9 Pillar and Travis got on in Montreal against the Reds on Saturday. They ended up, after those first 2 guys got on, 6 hits and 4 runs scored that inning.
Yeah, they were playing for 1 and got 4. So you can say all you want about not wanting to play fundamental baseball, but it leads to big innings. Here's the 3-1. Pillar at first. Not running. Ball 4. So Tanaka issues the first walk of the afternoon. 8 and 9 reach to start the top of the 3rd. Reyes, the batter, in the leadoff spot, struck out his first time up. Tanaka threw him a first pitch slider. Let's see if the Yankees are protecting against the bunt. Teixeira's in at first.
Both corners are in, and this is where John Gibbons likes to churn his hitter loose right here. get a first pitch fastball and try and hit it right by the corner infielders.
Reyes bunts it, and it's a beauty. Tanaka swipes at it, and it's thrown away wild. And here comes Pilar. He's going to score. Travis will stop at third. Reyes motors into second. And the Blue Jays, once again playing for one, have a chance for a big inning.
Have a big inning right here, courtesy of the Yankee defense right there. That, I thought, was Chase Headley's ball all the way. He's got to call off Tanaka on that play right there. He's coming in towards the play. And it looked like Tanaka got in his way. But the Blue Jays are in business right here. Second and third, nobody out. 1 run in.
This is not good. Jose Reyes bunts the ball. Tanaka swipes at it, and I think it was a distraction on Headley. He throws wildly. Watch Reyes. He got tangled up with Stephen Drew past the bag at first, and now the training staff is out to second to look at Reyes.
Not sure if it's an ankle or hamstring, but right there, Headley throws it away, and there's a mini collision at first base with Reyes, and you can see the wide turn. One more time down the line. Hits that bag. You can see something happen to him as he makes it into second base.
He didn't start limping until he was breaking it down at second. He's going to stay in the game. You remember Reyes left last year's opening game after just one at bat.
Yeah, he led off the ball game with the ball to center field and had to come out with a hamstring problem. I don't know if it was the way he hit the bag or when he ran into Stephen Drew at second base. He looks like he's running fine there, and then just started to feel it as he cruised into second base.
1-0 Blue Jays. Russell Martin with the infield back. Still nobody out, second and third. Base hit. Travis is coming in to score. Now they're going to wave Reyes in to score. Beltran had a long run to his right to get to the ball. Reyes may have run through a stop sign. It looked like Rivera was going to play it cautiously. But Reyes judged that Beltran was going to have trouble with it in right because he had such a long run. And now you can see Gibbons is concerned about the health of Reyes.
The leg problems. Russell Martin jumping all over that first pitch and drives it to right field. You're right about Beltran. Look where he is playing and how far he has to go to get that ball. Here comes Rivera. He's waving him and he's telling him something as he heads towards home plate. No throw. No problem. No chance for the Yankees to get the runner at the plate.
Still nobody out. Jose Bautista struck out his first time up. Blue Jays have taken a 3-0 lead. Russell Martin, his first Blue Jay hit, drives in a pair. Off speed pitch, he's out in front.
That's the pitch right there that you have to recognize that it's low, it's a splitter, and it's going to tumble out of the strike zone. First two batters, Pilar and Travis, did a good job of setting up this inning by laying off that pitch. Here's Reyes down the line. You can see how he had to step on the outside part of the bag, and then a little bit of maybe got kicked in the knee right there when he ran into Stephen Drew. Yeah, you can see he's having a little bit of problem after he untangles himself with Drew. Those you can play through. It's the pulled muscles where you have a problem with.
High fly ball to left. Brett Gardner is there looking up into the bright sun. He makes the catch. Batista's retired. Martin stays put at first. That's the first out of the inning.
Well, that's what happens when those first two batters get on base. The biggest at bat I think of this inning was the Travis walk. That really set it up.
Kevin Pilar had the leadoff single, and Devin Travis walked, and Reyes put down the sac bunt, and then Blue Jays cashed it into 3. Edwin Encarnacion got off to a little of a slow start last year. Only hit 2 home runs in the month of April, but then exploded in May with a record-tying 16 home runs.
Got off to a slow start 2 years ago also. A little bit of a slow start, and then ended up, he'll be there.
I guess what we're trying to say is don't worry if he gets off to a slow start.
Yeah, don't worry. He'll be fine by the end of the season. If he plays every day, he'll put the numbers up.
1 out. Reggie Jackson, the Hall of Famer, was here during batting practice. He said, there are 2 guys I love to watch hit, Jose Bautista and Edwin Encarnacion. Reggie, of course, a great hitter and a Hall of Fame home run hitter, said these 2 guys, I love their approach. Edwin didn't like that call, borderline pitch, and it looked like he was looking breaking ball.
Just didn't like it, but it got a strike, as you can see from pitch tracks. Obviously, that 3rd ball right in the middle there. You throw that one to Edwin with 2 strikes. Those are the pitches that he loses. Hits him out of the ballpark.
There's a deep drive to left. Gardner on the track at the wall. Goodbye, home run. Number 1 for Double E.
Boy, he tried to trick him, didn't he? 2-1. He tried to slip that ball by Edwin. And he has always hit well here at Yankee Stadium. In his career now, that's his 10th home run here in 44 games for Edwin. And we were just talking about a ball on the inner half. If you throw that later in the count, he has a way of baiting you to throw that pitch again and get in that same spot. And he was all over that ball.
Josh Donaldson.
Look at it one more time. They tried to slip a ball by him on the inner half, and he was waiting for it.
Who needs spring training? Edwin with his first homer of the season. He drives in a pair. 5-0 Jays. Boy, we can't emphasize how important Pilar and Travis hitting in the 8th and 9th spot. They got on base to set up the top of the order, and the top of the order has delivered.
You know, what does that do to the starting pitcher when those first 2 guys get on base? And now you're dealing with the top of the lineup.
There are an awful lot of lineups where you say, okay, I get the bottom 3rd, and that'll be my rest stop for this ball game. Not the case with the Blue Jays.
Tell you, it's taken the air out of the stadium here, hasn't it?
Well, he sure has. He has quieted the crowd as the Blue Jays connect for their 3rd home run against Tanaka. Last year they had 2 off Tanaka, and Edwin a 2-run home run here in a 5-run 3rd inning.
And it's been a long inning pitch-wise for Tanaka. He's getting close.
Sharply hit. Gregorius bobbles it, regroups, and throws out Donaldson. 2 down.
He's getting close to his pitch count. They were talking about maybe 90 pitches, and he would be done in the afternoon, so the Blue Jays have some action.
Ismael Rogers, the former Blue Jay, starts to loosen up in the Yankee bullpen. You were right. They're not going to really push Tanaka's pitch count early, and this has been a very extended inning. He's thrown 54 pitches already in this ball game, and Joe Girardi with the pitching coach Larry Rothschild right behind him. Yonder Navarro rips it over the mound, and Gregorius was behind the bag at second. The Blue Jays put up a 5 spot. Russell Martin with a 2-run single, and then Edwin Encarnacion, home run number 1, a 2-run shot to left. season. He was suspended. He has not had an at-bat here at Yankee Stadium since September 19th of 2013. Alex Rodriguez takes the first pitch fastball. Rodriguez had a pretty good spring. 2013, he was coming back from hip surgery and he didn't play until August 5th of 2013. So he has been really out since the last full season of 2012.
And he's going to be 40. You just don't have your legs when you have your hips. And we saw him the last time. He just didn't have his legs. He was swinging all with his arms. He just couldn't drive the ball. Spring training had a couple of home runs. Joe Girardi doesn't think there's going to be a problem. But Alex can hit.
Rodriguez will turn 40 on July 27th. Three-time MVP. Also, Martin had that foul tip go off his glove. There has been so much talk about Russell Martin, and there's this new sabermetrics number framing pitches. Well, I think Russell Martin's fingers are even more important than his framing, because he can really set up sequences, and you can see the wheels spinning behind the plate. Where do I go now? They're going with the slider.
I asked him that in spring training about his hands and why he's so good at that. He says, I just position myself the right place, and then I just go and catch the ball. I think if you position yourself, catch the ball where it's supposed to be, you don't want to be moving the ball around back there with your glove.
This time they're coming inside. He missed his spot, but it gets a foul ball. There are only a handful of catchers that handle pitchers as well as Russell Martin. Martin himself has picked up a lot from Yadi Molina of the Cardinals. Russell says, I always watch Yadi and see how he sets up, how he gives his target, how he positions his body. First Yankee to reach. Alex Rodriguez, a leadoff walk here in the third.
Looked like Drew was just going to try and challenge him with his fastball. Only threw him one breaking ball in that whole at bat. He was going to just challenge him with heaters, and he just missed on that 3-2 pitch.
So Rodriguez aboard, nobody out. Stephen Drew, the second baseman, batting eighth. Drew is now 32 years old. Drew, a year ago, did not sign until May. He signed with the Boston Red Sox and didn't play his first game in the majors till June 2nd. Because he was a compensation free agent. He had a draft pick tied to signing Stephen Drew. He and Kendrys Morales didn't sign until mid-season, and it hurt them both.
We were in Boston when that announcement was made last season that he was going to sign back with Boston. And has won the second base job here for the Yankees.
There's a fly ball into shallow right. Bautista was deep. He has time to recover and makes the catch. This is a good outfield, and the pitching staff is going to recognize that. All spring long, the pitchers have cut down their walks, and that's a huge number.
Communication, I think, is so important. We saw it right at the end. Normally, fly ball priority goes to the center fielder, but you can see Bautista call off his young center fielder with the voice and with his hand recognition. No collision out there. Communication is very important among the outfielders.
Didi Gregorius pops it up. Donaldson shading his eyes in foul territory, makes the catch. 2 quick outs after the leadoff walk. You take a look at the young guns on the Blue Jays staff. They have a 12-man pitching staff and actually have a 13-man pitching staff at this point, and 5 of the young pitchers are 24 and younger.
3 of them are in the starting rotation. And Osuna and Castro are going to be pitching out of the bullpen in prominent roles. I never have a problem with young pitchers getting to the big leagues early, finishing off their development at the big league level.
Well, if you sign Russell Martin for 5 years, why would you waste one of those 5 years by keeping your pitchers in the minors? That was part of the reason you brought him in, to be the mentor for this young pitching staff. 2 outs, top of the order. Ellsbury bounces it to first. Easy play for Edwin. Leadoff walk doesn't hurt. We move to the 4th. Blue Jays scored 5 in the 3rd. Dalton Pompey from Mississauga, Ontario will start things off for the Blue Jays.
Now you can watch the Blue Jays anytime, anywhere. Visit Sportsnet in the App Store to download. I don't know if either of you guys have seen the new Sportsnet app, but it is fantastic.
Lots going on with Sportsnet. Certainly they want to preview everything here at the start of the baseball season. And, of course, that is Monument Park beyond the center field fence. And late Mariano Rivera is honored out there. This year the Yankees are going to retire some more numbers. They're going to have Andy Pettitte, Jorge Posada, and Tino Martinez.
They're going to have their numbers out in Monument Park.
So we move to the 4th. Dalton Pompey flied out to right field his first time up. Hit the ball pretty hard.
Good eye. Right off the plate. John Gibbons was talking this morning about the young kids that he has on his roster and coming into Yankee Stadium and what that means to open a season and for some of them open a big league career. He said he went to each one of the 6 and talked to them individually to talk about not being intimidated. It's okay to be excited. Be excited about that. You should be excited because you care, but don't be intimidated coming in the Yankee Stadium and playing the Yankees. I thought that was a good move by Gibby.
There's a high fly ball to right. Beltran back on the track over in the corner, and that ball blows foul. It had home run distance, but it kept hooking, and Beltran was tracking it right into the corner. It's only 314 down in the corner and right. That's Ken Pompey and his wife here. They were in Montreal. They said, you know what, I wouldn't miss this opening day for the world. He said, you only have one opening day for your son, and we're going to be there, that's for sure.
Why not Yankee Stadium? Now do something dramatic right here. I thought he had that one. I thought he got enough of that pitch to hook it around the foul pole down the right field line.
Just on the outside corner. Might have been off the plate, but he didn't get the call. 2-2. Pompey hit a home run in the spring against Justin Verlander on a 3-1 pitch. He drilled it deep to right field in Dunedin. Tried to check his swing and did, according to the third base umpire, Paul Schreiber.
That's how you lay off that pitch, that splitter. Again, one of the highest strikeout percentage in all of baseball last year Tanaka had with that splitter. So when he goes to 2 strikes, you might look for it.
That was a good splitter right at the bottom of the strike zone. Another strikeout for Tanaka. That's 4.
The 2015 Honda CR-V is the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays and Motor Trend's 2015 Sport Utility of the Year.
Kevin Pillar singled and scored the first Blue Jay run. Reaches for that pitch down and away and fouls it into the seats. Pillar's an interesting study in determination. He was a 32nd round pick when he was drafted out of a Division II school out in California. Small state university, Cal State Dominguez Hills. He has never been one to be on the leaderboard of the top prospects in the Blue Jays organization, but he just believes he can play.
Yeah, I think he's starting to make a believer out of everybody else that's around him. He can play this game. He's a baseball player. He's got good instincts. He understands the game. And I think if you just give him a chance, and really give him a chance, I think he can help you.
Michael Saunders, who was slated to be the left fielder, had knee surgery in spring training. He is still in Florida. And now he is into a running program. Blue Jays are optimistic that he will be back probably within a couple weeks.
Yeah, he was running on a treadmill and started that program.
How about Kevin Pillar starting out his season 2 for 2? Stayed back, 2-strike approach, and that's something we didn't see last year from Pillar. He got over anxious and was never really that selective.
You just had to throw it in the dirt area and he would swing. Now it's a little bit more relaxed, compact. They've been trying to get him to stay inside the ball just a little bit more instead of going around the baseball, go inside it. That keeps that barrel of the bat through the strike zone a little bit longer, and you get a couple of hits.
Devin Travis walked his first time up. Pillar's running. Throw to second base is in the dirt and not in time. Kevin Pillar with a stolen base. He looks like he may have hurt himself. Taking his time getting up, and that left hand, did he hit his left hand on that bag? That's always what you worry about when runners slide head first.
He's got the padding and the, I don't know what you want to call that, on his right hand. It might be a chance to put on his left. He went into that bag hard. Don't know if it's a straight steal or hit and run. It looks like it might have been a hit and run because he looked back in and watched that left hand get in there. It looked like it went right into the knee of Stephen Drew, who was blocking the bag. Watch him stick that knee down and watch the hand right into it. That's the danger I think you have when you slide head first like that.
Yeah, I think they're going to review this. Joe Girardi is out on the field, and we thought this was going to be a change in the procedure, as the manager would, from the dugout, request a review. He has gotten the thumbs down from his bench coach, who this year is Rob Thompson. So Fielding Culbreth was over to check with Girardi. They thought about a review, but when they took a look at it, they decided not to chance it. 1 out. Pillar at second base. Off speed pitch, hooked foul. You know how you make the middle infielders stop blocking the bag at second?
Sure. Slide with your spikes right into them. Totally legal. We had guys back in the day who used to always block the bag like that on certain plays. I understand it. They're begging for you to slide head first.
Off-speed pitch, and Travis strikes out. That's 5 strikeouts so far for Tanaka, but the Blue Jays have a 5-0 lead. So Reyes will come to the plate for a 3rd time. There's a look at that pitch in the dirt.
Pretty nasty.
Chris Martin, the big right-hander, loosening up. Esmail Rogers was up last inning, and now it's Martin. Big, tall, hard-throwing right-hander. This is Reyes, the leadoff man. Reyes has struck out and had a sacrifice bunt. He came around to score. And Russell Martin, 2-run single.
He won't throw him a fastball, will he? Unless he has to. Especially early in the count. He knows Reyes, especially Jose, when runners are in scoring position, becomes very aggressive at the plate. Tries to jump on that first pitch fastball.
Reyes hit a first pitch fastball leading off a game here last summer against Tanaka for a home run. Reyes has had a good spring. He has really worked hard in the offseason on his physical conditioning, but he's also put a lot of effort into his hitting and his fielding.
He looks determined, doesn't he? There are his numbers this spring in 20 games, just under 300.
Good eye. Now he has to make sure that he doesn't chase a borderline pitch. Russell Martin is on deck. Martin with a 2-run single his last time up.
Yeah, you can think fastball here. 3-1, you can think fastball, but you've got to have in the back of your mind he's going to throw a breaking ball.
Good job. Off-speed pitch, and Reyes didn't anticipate a fastball. Tanaka not wanting to give in to him. Had a base open, so now Russell Martin will have another chance to drive in a run.
Told you he wouldn't throw him a fastball. Not even close. He wanted no part of Jose Reyes there.
Tanaka now has thrown 73 pitches. We only mention that because the Yankees have expressed their concern about a big pitch count early on for Tanaka. Russell Martin, 2-run single in the 3rd. Boy, Blue Jays have done a good job now. After once through the order, they saw a lot of off-speed pitches. Now they're really patient, making Tanaka throw it over.
Yeah, the first 2 innings, the Blue Jays looked like they were really swinging and expecting fastballs from Tanaka, and he kept throwing off-speed pitches. He struck out 3 of the first 4 batters he faced, but from that 3rd inning on, they've been very patient. They've been making him get that ball up.
There's a nice mix of veterans and youth in this Blue Jays lineup. And especially in the top of the order when you have guys like Reyes and Martin and Batista, and they can feed off one another.
Yeah, and you know they're talking on the bench and they're going over what Tanaka had done to them, formulating a game plan against them. The game plan is make him get that breaking ball up. You know, even if you hit it, you swing at it and hit it, you're not going to do anything with it because it's in a good spot.
But once you get that breaking ball up about mid-thigh high, that's when you can really do some damage. Batista was 0 for 2. He waits on deck. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 aboard. We're in the top of the 4th, and the Blue Jays have a 5-0 lead. Boy, they're zeroed in on him pretty good, not chasing any borderline pitches, and they're having a good look at that fastball now, knowing that they're going to get an off-speed pitch.
Before his injury, they hit 142 against that splitter. After that injury, 333. So players started making the adjustment and just wasn't biting as much as it was before.
Well, that's that emergency hack, and you can do that when you're not defending against a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
I think that's the four-seamer that Joe Girardi was talking about. You have to mix in some of those four-seamers at the top of the strike zone just to stand that hitter up, change the eye plane.
Martin hanging tough, battling Tanaka here in the fourth. Russell Martin played 2 years with the Yankees before leaving to free agency. Signed with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and of course he has signed a 5-year deal with the Blue Jays. Kevin Pillar at second. He's got a couple of singles so far. Reyes has walked. He's officially 0 for 1 with a sacrifice bunt and a walk. Quite a battle going on, and this is one thing you didn't see with Tanaka last year. All those pitches are tough pitches, but Martin can fight them off because he doesn't have to worry about that high fastball.
The high heater, so he can just look down. That's why McCann, I think, went out there to talk to him and say, hey, you want to take a chance at maybe throwing one up and in to him? Up, see if you want to go fastball here. But this is why Martin was so good last year with runners in scoring position. Look where all those pitches are, clustered at the bottom of the strike zone.
Another pitch down in the dirt. That's a full countdown. So the runners will be off on the pitch. Danger lurking on deck in Bautista. This may be the last batter for Tanaka if Martin can keep the inning going. Pillar at second, Reyes at first. They'll be off on the pitch. There they go. Cut on and miss. Martin strikes out. Another breaking ball. Tanaka strikes out the side. Great day, opening day. It's right there on the baseball, and that's a lucky fan to get a souvenir.
Bag of Old Dutch potato chips and then enter your eligible UPC code at bluejays.com/Old Dutch contest. One lucky fan will win a trip to 2016 Blue Jays spring training in Dunedin. Prize includes tickets, airfare, and hotel. Full contest rules at bluejays.com. Buck.
Thank you, Barry. Gorgeous afternoon here at Yankees Stadium, and the anticipation has been 6 months long now as these fans up here in the Northeast have been anticipating spring weather, and they've gotten it today with the Blue Jays in town, and the Blue Jays have kind of ruined their day so far, putting up a 5 spot in the 3rd inning. Drew Hutchison got the nod for the opening day start, and it was a product of several different situations and matchups, but Hutchison so far so good. This is Brett Gardner, who lined out on 1 pitch his first time up. This time he drops a bunt, but it's a foul bunt.
Yeah, he jumped on that first pitch fastball from Hutchison and drove Bautista all the way to the wall in right field. Gardner, I don't know what it is about the Blue Jays, but it brings out the best in Brett Gardner, doesn't it?
Well, it sure does. He has always hit well against the Blue Jays, and against Hutchison, he's got a couple of home runs. He's a tough out.
Yeah. He's got power. If you lay one in there, 17 home runs last year from the guy.
Career high in home runs. Changed his approach a little bit.
He's got speed, evident of that bunt attempt, and he can leg out infield hits.
Devin Travis throws him out. Well, of course, the Blue Jays had terrible news this spring when Marcus Stroman suffered that ruptured ACL, and Marcus' father, Earl Stroman, in the stands here this afternoon, and I spoke to Earl earlier and asked him how Marcus is doing. He said, well, he's holding up now. Of course, the initial disappointment was devastating, but he says that Marcus is going back to Duke, going to try to finish up his college degree, and he's thinking about his teammates, and we want to send our best wishes along to Marcus Stroman. He's a big part of this ball club, and Earl understands that he's got a lot of players on this team that he has watched throughout Marcus's young career in the minor leagues, and he comes out to support the team here this afternoon.
All coming back up to the big leagues. Yeah, tough news for everybody involved. So what do you do as an organization? Hey, next man up. Let's go. Daniel Norris gets a shot.
Carlos Beltran bounces it the first. Easy play for Encarnacion. 2 up, 2 down here in the 4th.
Jays on Sports. Presented by the 2015 Honda CR-V, Motor Trend's 2015 Sport Utility of the Year.
Mark Teixeira caught looking at strike 3 in his only at bat. This time he checks his swing and fouls it off the catcher and the umpire. Teixeira signed a lucrative contract coming here as a free agent. Teixeira will be paid through next season, 2016. The Yankees have some long commitments. Ellsbury is signed through 2020. McCann signed through 2019. Chase Headley is signed through 2018. And of course, Alex Rodriguez, he will have 3 more years, over $20 million. In fact, the Yankees have 5 players making over $20 million a year.
Wow. Didn't you get the sense, though, in the offseason that they did not want to take on any more money and they wanted to hold on to their best prospects? Because I think they see that these guys are starting to get old and they're starting to make a lot of money. To rebuild, you got to go young.
3-1. Teixeira takes ball for a 2-out walk, and not exactly what Hutchison had on his mind there. That's the second walk issued this afternoon by Hutchison. Well, Blue Jays know all too well that this Yankee team can strike back quickly, and you can't sit on a 5-0 lead early in the ball game, and Drew Hutchison understands that as well.
Well, because they can knock the ball out of the ballpark, and they've got home run hitters up and down this lineup in this ballpark, it's never safe. You cannot take 1 inning, 1 pitch off, or 1 swing of the bat will get the Yankees back into this.
Brian McCann says, you know what, I'll take a 2-out base hit. McCann with 2 home runs against Drew Hutchison for his career, trying to drop down the bunt with the shift on. That's one thing hitters do that they don't have to do. You don't have to be perfect with the bunt. Just get it on the ground.
Just
look where Donaldson is.
Yeah, and he's moved in also. He was back at straightaway shortstop, almost onto the outfield grass before that last pitch, and now he has moved in to take away that bunt. Here he comes. He's up on the grass now.
The high heater, and Hutchison is ahead 0-2. You know, at the start of spring, when the new commissioner, Rob Manfred, took over, he was talking about some of the changes, and he mentioned the thought of maybe eliminating the shifts. I think that discussion has died down quietly, and rightly so.
Yeah, you can't. How can you tell a baseball team where they can position their defenders?
You know, the game will take care of itself in this regard, and hitters are going to have to learn to go the other way and just, hey, take advantage of the gaps. 1-2. That's a fair ball just over the bag. It bangs on the wall down the right side. Bautista hustles it back in. And Brian McCann turned on that inside here and chases Mark Teixeira over to third base, first and third with 2 outs.
Well, you know, these Yankee veteran hitters, they're not going to go quietly. Even if you get ahead 2 strikes, they still have that ability to pound out base hits. Somehow McCann got that ball between Encarnacion and the bag. Just fair for a single.
So this is how the Yankees can strike back quickly, even with 2 outs. A 2-out walk to Teixeira, a single by McCann, and now Chase Headley comes up, and he's a switch hitter, and he can reach the seats.
A 2-strike base hit by McCann, and now just like that, a fly ball to right field can make it 5-3 very easily.
So you start him off with a first pitch breaking ball.
That breaking ball, first pitch. It started coming around for Drew Hutchison last year, right around July or so. Really concentrated on staying on top of the ball. Pete Walker was talking this morning about him staying on top of that ball and getting a good spin on it. And we saw a much bigger break from Hutch last year. Really started to be a go-to pitch for him.
We got that fastball in on the hands of Headley. 0-2. Pete Walker, the pitching coach, has been very pleased with the maturation of Drew Hutchison, how he continues to grow as a starting pitcher.
Yeah, he says fastball command is his #1 thing, but that slider's been much better.
Changeup. Travis from the outfield grass in time, and the 2-out walk and a single. The Yankees leave a pair. We'll go to the 5th of the Blue Jays leading 5-0. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn.
for them this year. They are bobblehead days. The first one goes Sunday, April 19th, when the Blue Jays host the Atlanta Braves at 1:07 p.m. The first 20,000 fans receive a Jose Bautista bobblehead. For tickets, call 416-341-1234 or BlueJays.com, and they will be lined up early, fans, so if you want one, get there early. Buck?
Jose Bautista will lead things on for the Blue Jays as they are set to bat in the fifth inning. Masahiro Tanaka is out of the game. Chris Martin makes his Yankee debut here.
There's numbers last year with Colorado. 2014, he's tall, now 6'8", comes right over the top, fastball, slider. He's got great command of all of his pitches. In spring training, he had 18 strikeouts and just one walk. He is a strike thrower. Fastball 91, 95. He's got above average slider, and he's a welcome addition to this bullpen. It's a good Yankee bullpen.
Yeah, they've got a lot of hard throwers, and their names that we're not that familiar with, but they have good arms. Batista, 0 for 2 so far this afternoon. Yankees continue to play the shift on Batista. Masahiro Tanaka knocked out of the ball game. He is charged with 5 runs, 4 earned runs over 4 innings of work.
There are the 3 infielders on the left side of the infield. I've been watching it this afternoon against Bautista and Encarnacion with 2 strikes, though. Stephen Drew will move over to a more straightaway second base because they've read the scouting reports. They know that both Bautista and Encarnacion are intelligent hitters, and when they get to 2 strikes, they'll start trying to shoot that ball the other way.
Yeah, and Joe Girardi understands that when you play these shifts, you're going to have to counteract them once you get to 2 strikes. 1-1 count. Right on the corner. Batista loves to have a little knowledge of a pitcher he's facing, so he's been a little patient, just trying to get a look at 6'8" Chris Martin.
Again, he's a strike thrower. He's always around the plate.
That's a pretty good pitch. He didn't get the call. He thought it was a strike. He was walking off the mound and didn't get the call. Martin has had a very up and down career. He was drafted 3 different times. In 2005, he suffered a torn labrum and pitched in an independent league. There he gets the strikeout. Bautista goes down swinging. That's 7 strikeouts for the Yankees against the Jays.
Well, they can do that. They've got plenty of those, but against Edwin Encarnacion, no strikeout here. 2-1, and Tanaka tries to slip a fastball by him, and Edwin was waiting for it. Last time up, hammers it into the bleachers in left field. That made it 5-0. That's a good sign if you're a Blue Jay fan. Edwin Encarnacion swinging a hot bat in April. Just got off to a miserable start last year. Couldn't buy a hit. I could count, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 times in the month of April last year where he hit rockets to the left side of the infield, and the shift took away those hits from him.
He made up for it in May. He had 16 home runs in the month of May and had a terrific season overall. He was destined for another 100 RBI season until he pulled the quad muscle out in Oakland in July. Missed about a month of season.
Yeah, had to be carried off the field if you remember it.
Up and away, just caught that outside corner. This is the first opening day roster spot for Chris Martin.
And there's the shift again with 2 strikes. You see Stephen Drew, the second baseman, now moving over close to straightaway second base. DeGregorius also moved a little bit. He moved about 5 steps to his left. It's an infield for the Yankees, where only Mark Teixeira is left from the opening day lineup last year.
Down and away. Dramatic turnaround for the Yankees, of course, and Teixeira dealt with some injuries Last year he was at first base. Brett Gardner was there in left field. There were only 4 players held over from 2019. Last time the Yankees really had that great run into the postseason. That foul tip is held on to by the catcher. 2 ounces. Checking with Jamie Camp. Who's got an update for us? Troy Tulowitzki with an RBI double ahead of that home run, and that's an ugly start for the Brew Crew at home. 4-0 Colorado. This is Josh Donaldson, who has grounded out twice. Donaldson had a nice spring, his first spring with the Blue Jays. 6 home runs in the spring, including a long home run in Montreal to wrap things up.
How about that? That was a thing of beauty, wasn't it? Tell you, when you go to the Yankees bullpen, the game slows down, doesn't it? They strike everybody out.
Yeah. I certainly did that a year ago, and they have in the past, of course, with David Robertson, and before that, Mariano Rivera. A lot of strikeouts down in that Yankee pen.
Probably the biggest change in the game over the last few years, isn't it? The makeup of teams' bullpens.
Yeah, I think so. And there are so many big, strong relievers like Chris Martin. You see his numbers from the spring: 18 strikeouts, just 1 walk.
That's what we were talking about in 11 innings for Big Martin.
Breaking ball. He wanted to walk in the dugout. Thought he had Donaldson struck out. Martin was completely out of baseball after a surgery in 2007. He didn't pitch again until 2010 in an independent league. Kind of like the Steve Delabar story.
Red Sox saw him, signed him, and he has made his way to the big leagues. He was drafted, you mentioned it a couple of times, once out of high school by the Tigers, 2004, and then out of community college in 2005 by the Rockies. Didn't sign either time.
Yankees picked him up in January from Colorado for cash considerations. There's a strikeout, about a good first inning for Chris Martin as a Yankee. He strikes out Batista, Encarnacion, and Donaldson. It doesn't get any better than that.
Sign up at nextissue.ca/baseball and get an extended 60-day free trial. Buck.
Great afternoon at Yankee Stadium. Opening day crowd on hand, and they welcome back Alex Rodriguez. When he was introduced in the pregame introductions and the Yankees came out on the front line, he got a very positive reception by the Yankee crowd.
Unlike the other day in Washington when they booed him for the 3 times that he came up. There was a lot of cheers when he was announced this afternoon.
Well, of course, the Yankees no longer have a captain. Derek Jeter retires after 20 seasons in Yankee pinstripes, and ironically, Alex Rodriguez is back. Well, that's a good fastball in a good spot.
He's going to try and beat him with fastballs. His first at bat, he pumped everything in there except one off-speed pitch, and now it's almost like he's daring Alex Rodriguez. Let's see if you can get around on my heater.
I think that's the right approach. You know, Rodriguez has missed basically 2 full seasons of baseball. Let's see if he can handle a fastball. Another fastball. What's wrong with that one? Oh, changeup actually. Good arm action, and that high changeup didn't get.
Looked like a strike. You can see that right there too.
Are you surprised to see Rodriguez batting 7th?
Looking at the makeup of this team, no, I think Joe Girardi's done the right thing. He hasn't played, like you said, in over a year. And when he did, he wasn't very successful back then. So put him at the bottom of the lineup. You got the switch hitters and Teixeira and Headley. I would think if they face a left-hander, I bet you he moves up in the lineup. I bet you he hits 5th in the lineup against a lefty.
Of course, he's always been middle of the order guy. 3-time MVP. He's only 6 home runs shy of the great Willie Mays. He has 654 career home runs. There he is in the DH spot, batting 7th. Ball is drilled to center. That's going to drop in front of Pompey. Dalton Pompey kind of took a deep route to that. I don't think Rodriguez hit it as hard as Pompey thought. Kind of died before it got to the outfield.
Yeah, I think Dalton thought that this ball was hit on the nose and it was heading towards the wall in right center field. He retreated on that ball very quickly and then recognized that the ball was going to die in front of him. Watch him take off on this ball and then start to curve back in the infield, and it drops for a base hit. It's the 2nd hit of the afternoon by the Yankees.
This is Stephen Drew. He popped out to right field his first time up, and Hutchison pounds the strike zone with another fastball.
It's the 2nd time through the lineup against the Yankees, and now Hutch can start showing some of the other things. And one of the pitches I think that's important for him, especially against left-handers like Drew, is his changeup. There's one right there. In the spring, Pete Walker and Drew Hutchison talked about focusing below the glove. You know, in the past, when you're a pitcher, you focus on the glove where you want to throw your changeup. Pete's been trying to get him to focus below the glove.
Another fly ball into shallow right. Second baseman Travis is there on the outfield grass to make the catch. Drew's retired.
The 2015 Honda CR-V is the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays and Motor Trend's 2015 Sport Utility of the Year.
Number 9 hitter is the shortstop, Didi Gregorius. Gregorius popped out to the 3rd baseman on the first pitch he saw. Gregorius hit his first big league home run right here at Yankee Stadium as a member of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hit that off of Phil Hughes in 2013. It was actually his first at-bat with the Diamondbacks. He started the season in AAA Reno. Didn't come up till the 15th game of the season, and then hit a home run in his first at-bat with the Diamondbacks. He had 20 previous at-bats with Cincinnati prior to his being dealt to Arizona.
No, there's no question he can field. The big question is he going to be able to hit enough at the big league level? And a lot of people think the answer is yes.
Bautista comes in a few steps and makes the catch on the fly ball. 2 outs.
You know, but to finish up that, what we were talking about, the changeup and focusing below the glove, I think that's a great way to go about doing it. Then you're going to really concentrate on staying on top of the ball for your changeup. And if you think underneath the glove, then you're not going to hang that changeup. This might be the guy right here that you could use that changeup.
This is Scobie Ellsbury, who goes after the first pitch and lifts it high in the air down the left side. Pilar is there battling the sun, stays with it, makes the catch. Leadoff single doesn't hurt. Dalton Pompey will bat second when we come back. 22-year-old, anxious to get his big league career off on a good start.
Buck and Gianna Navarro made it pretty clear from the first day of spring training that he'd love to have the opportunity to play somewhere where he can catch every day. That trade never happened during spring training, and he never complained about it at all. I spoke with him today, and he says he's a firm believer that things happen for a reason. He didn't even know he was in the lineup today DHing, but when he heard he was, he said, you know something, that may be the best thing for me right now. The reason being is he tweaked his knee early on in camp, and it's still not 100%, so had he been traded somewhere, he probably would have a difficult time catching on an everyday basis. So for now, he enjoys his time here. He's going to play as much as he can in the DH role, maybe catch once in a while, and if a trade happens, it will happen. But for now, he is very happy to wearing that Blue Jay uniform and having a chance to at least get some at-bats in. Buck?
Gianna Navarro already has a base hit here. He got the first hit of the ball game. New pitcher for the Yankees is Jason Shreve.
Look at the numbers that he posted last year. 267 earned run average, a whip under 1, 12 strikeouts per 9 innings. He's got a funky, deceptive deliveries. He falls off the mound like that. His pitches move all over the place. That low angle arm slot, fastball, can touch 95, and he's got a slider that is his best pitch.
He is 24 years old. He was acquired by the Yankees along with David Carpenter from Atlanta on January 1st in exchange for Manny Banuelos. Banuelos was that prospect we heard about forever. It was Dellin Betances and Manny Banuelos, the future starters for the Yankees. And now Betances is in the pen and Banuelos is in Atlanta. Gianna Navarro, he has the added benefit of being a switch hitter, so he just turns around and bats right-handed whenever they make a pitching change. Boy, the Blue Jays lineup is so much better because of all the switch hitters in the lineup.
Got another one on deck. You got 3 of them in your lineup this afternoon, negating some moves later in the ball game for Joe Girardi.
This is a fly ball into center. Ellsbury over to his left, makes the catch. Navarro's retired. And that'll bring Dalton Pompey to the plate. He too is one of those switch hitters, and he will bat right-handed against Shreve. Pompey played in 4 levels last year. He started out his season in Dunedin and tore up the Florida State League at .319. Once he got to Buffalo, he played in 12 games in AAA at .358, and then finished up the season 17 games with the Blue Jays. His family is here in attendance this afternoon for his first opening day start.
Didn't he go to the Arizona Fall League for a little bit also? He was playing year-round last year.
Yeah, he got a chance to go out to Arizona and continued his development. It was a long off season for him, or actually a short one, as he had to just turn around and come to spring training.
But that's what young players have to do, especially as you get to the upper levels of the minor leagues. You go play winter ball. You basically play year-round for your last 2 or 3 years if you got a shot at the big leagues. That's your job. That's what you do. No time to rest. Time to get out there and just keep polishing your skills against better competition.
1-1 pitch misses downstairs. With the start today in center field, Pompey becomes the first rookie center fielder in a starting lineup since Sil Campusano in 1988, and only the 4th rookie to start in center all time for the Blue Jays. Rick Bossetti started in '78, and the late Gary Woods started in '77, the initial season for the Blue Jays. So they've only had 4 rookies start in center field on opening day.
I thought Lloyd Mosby would be in there somewhere.
I think he came up after the start of the season.
Right.
2 balls and 2 strikes. We're in the 6th. The Blue Jays have a 5-0 lead. Good take just off the plate inside. Dalton Pompey was drafted in the 16th round in 2010. Might have been ball 4, and he looked like he may have clipped the catcher, Brian McCann, with that backswing. He needs a new bat. Inside, you can see McCann looking at his left forearm, but the catcher moves inside. You reach for that ball inside, and when that hitter follows through with that bat, sometimes it'll clip the catcher.
Let's see right here. Inside fastball, pulls around and gets him right on top of his hand. I've seen catchers break their hand on follow-throughs like that.
It's a high fly ball into shallow center. Ellsbury is there, and they're at 2 down. Masahiro Tanaka, his first opening day start didn't go well. He allowed 4 earned runs, 5 hits, 2 walks. He struck out 6 through 82 pitches, and Tanaka didn't finish up strong last year. 4 of his last 5 starts, he allowed 4 earned runs in each of those 4 starts.
Yeah, first 16 were outstanding, made the All-Star team, and then his last couple were not very good. I think that's when that elbow started barking. But he threw 4 innings, and he had the 1 bad inning when he gave up the 5 runs.
Well, I think that's what the Blue Jays offense can do. Even a tough pitcher like Tanaka, he retired the first 5 before Deanna Navarro got an infield single. And then Kevin Pillar got it all started with a leadoff single, and the Blue Jays scored 5 runs on 3 hits. Kevin Pillar's 2 for 2 to start his season. He has a couple of singles. Scored a run, got a stolen base. Boy, he's having good at bats. Kevin Pillar was very disappointed when the Blue Jays training staff shut him down in spring training. He pulled an oblique muscle, played with it the rest of the game, and then once they evaluated it, he said, you know what, let's shut him down. It was the middle of the spring, and he was off to a great start. There's that good slider.
He wanted to play. He wanted to make the team. He wanted to be part of this team. And nobody ever wants to get hurt in spring training. But luckily for him, he wasn't out that long. And he proved right away, once he came back, that everything was fine.
He missed 7 days and came back and homered against Wei Yin Chen in his first game back down in Sarasota. 2-2 pitch. Stays on that outside pitch to stay alive. Brooke Jacoby in his first year as the hitting coach. He's been a major league hitting coach in the past. Spent 7 years with the Cincinnati Reds, and he's a very quiet mentor. He delivers a strong message, but he speaks with the players, not at them.
Yeah, he doesn't miss much. Sees everything.
Long drive to left field. That's going to stay in the ballpark as Gardner makes the catch on the edge of the warning track. Good inning for Jason Shreve, his first as a Yankee.
Baseball. Listen to live audio, follow games pitch by pitch, and enjoy in-game video highlights. The app is available on the iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, Android, and BlackBerry. Season-long subscription packages are available. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. And if you have that app, you can see that the Detroit Tigers and David Price are having quite a game, and Price has gone 7 shutout innings against the Twins, Buck.
Barry, there was a lot of discussion about David Price being named the opening day starter over Justin Verlander. Of course, at that time, Verlander wasn't injured. He has since landed on the disabled list. But David Price, anytime you can send him to the mound, you're going to take that opportunity. He is one of the good ones. Speaking of good pitchers, how about Drew Hutchison in front of his mom, dad, and his sister, who are here from Lakeland, Florida? Boy, they are locked in, aren't they? They're focused on their son, and why not?
Struck out the first batter he faced this afternoon, Jacoby Ellsbury, and he has looked good.
Shutting out the Yankees on 2 hits through 5 innings. That's a pretty good pitch. Didn't get the call. Russell Martin's got to work over the umpire and say, hey, that's a good pitch. We need it.
He will. He'll get after him. It's a big inning, I think, for Hutch as he's getting close to 80 pitches.
Drew Hutchison should not have any restrictions on him this year. Pitched 180 innings last year, and that was his first full season coming back from Tommy John surgery. You know, the changeup, boy, he's used that changeup very well today. He's thrown a lot of them.
He has to, because there's so many left-handed bats in the lineup for the Yankees. I think the neutralizer has got to be that changeup.
In today's game, the Yankee left-handed bats are 1 for 16. That's quite a turnaround from his record against left-handed hitters last year. There's a high fly ball. Bautista at the wall. This is gone. Brett Gardner got a high pitch, and Tommy hopped it for his first home run of the season. That's his 3rd career home run against Drew Hutchison.
And now he's got 41 career home runs, 10 of them against the Blue Jays. Everything had been down this afternoon so far for Hutchison, and the one time he gets a pitch that's up, watch the location. They want it down and away. It's up about belt high, right where Gardner can reach it. A natural uppercut swing gets the ball in the air for a home run.
Gardner had 17 homers last year for the Yankees. Number 1 has put the Yankees on the board here in the 6th. Carlos Beltran, 0-4-2.
This is a big inning, like we were just saying, because you're going down right through the heart of the Yankee order in the 6th inning. 3rd time through the lineup. You usually have to concentrate on making the pitch. Everything is starting to leak up. Look at those pitches on pitch tracks. Up. Home run was up.
Another high pitch and a high fly ball to right. Bautista on the track. He's got room. Beltran just missed it. Gardner hit a home run to right to start the inning. Beltran just missed a home run. But you see, last season left-handers hit him hard, and he's made an effective adjustment in this ball game against the lefty hitters.
Here's the opponents on base plus slugging, lefties at 8-11, and again, that's why the importance of the changeup. Again, he got underneath this one, and here comes Russell Martin. He sees the same thing you and I are seeing.
Yeah,
right now.
all of a sudden, Hutchison's arm has dropped, and because of that, the ball is staying up, and that's when it becomes dangerous.
And I think Pete Walker sees the same thing. He's going to go out there and have a few words with Hutch.
Blue Jays have 3 lefties in their bullpen. Aaron Luke is the first to get up and loosen up.
Pete was telling me today, he said the whole key again for Drew Hutchison is fastball command. And he's got to stay on top of the baseball and drive the ball down in the strike zone. This inning so far, his arm has gotten out in front of him. He's got his hand behind the ball, and the ball has been up this whole inning. So Pete sees it. Russell Martin sees it. Now you got to come back with a good pitch.
Another hard hit ball to right. Teixeira jumps on it. 2 outs. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Adam Lynn playing first base. It's a base hit in his first at bat as a Brewer. You have to imagine that adrenaline has had an effect on Hutchison today. Gets his first opening day start. There's a lot of hoopla. He's got family and friends in town. And I think that has caused him to lose the command of that fastball. It's kind of leaking up into the zone.
Right now it's just a mechanical thing. Now at 90 pitches, it'll be interesting to see how far they push him this afternoon. This might be his last inning.
He pulled that pitch well off the plate inside. 3-1 now with 2 outs. John Gibbons has a full complement of pitchers. He's got 8 relievers down in his pen, 3 lefties and 5 righties. There's a breaking ball for a strike.
And you've got an off day tomorrow, and Gibby said he'd like to get these guys in there, get them in there to pitch today because they're off tomorrow.
Another breaking ball and hit high into the air in the center. Pompey over, gets there, and Hutchison gives up a leadoff home run. His family very appreciative of the effort for their 24-year-old son.
My life. It's a day I've dreamed of. Hearing news like that is, I don't know, man. It's a crazy string of emotions right now. I'm just so thankful. All you can ask for in life is, an opportunity, and yeah, it's really been a great 7-8 weeks down here. Just coming in every day, you have an opportunity to meet all these guys, pick everyone's brain, just to play the game that I've always loved to play, and getting that news today just is unbelievable.
That was Devin Travis reacting to being informed that he had made the Blue Jays opening day roster, and he would indeed be the opening day starter at second base. His first year with the Blue Jays, he came to the organization in a trade with the Detroit Tigers for Anthony Gose.
Pretty big jump. He was in Double-A last year with Detroit. Now here he is at Yankee Stadium, but I don't think he's going to be intimidated at all. He won the job in spring training.
Goes after that pitch as Travis walked in the third inning. He was kind of a catalyst for that 5-run inning as he followed the leadoff single by Pilar with a walk. He came around to score the second Blue Jay run. There's a deep drive to left field. Get up, get up, get out of here. How about that for number 1?
And he is sprinting around those bases. Good for you, Devin Travis.
His family is here as well, and you can bet they're all going to celebrate that moment. And the silent treatment in the dugout, it won't last for long. How about that? First big league home run is a Yankee Stadium homer and a no-doubter.
First big league hit is a long one. You and I were teasing him in spring training that you got a chance to call his first big league home run, and you did it, my man.
I forgot about that.
Remember that?
We were doing a commercial, and he happened to just come in the shadows of you and I doing our part of the commercial. And they said, announce a player, and we'll just film you. There was no sound. Reyes is out on the fly ball to center. So you and I are standing around his microphone, and I'm calling play-by-play. And I said, Devin Travis with a swing and a drive. He has just hit a home run off Roger Clemens.
Wrong era. Right guy, wrong era.
How about that? Devin Travis wearing number 29. He wore 77 throughout the spring. And I asked him if he knew who wore 29 before him, and he responded, Joe Carter. I said, yeah, and there was another 29 that came from Double-A, Jesse Barfield. Blue Jays have stretched their lead 6-0. New pitcher into the game when we come back to New York. And Tuke, that's Devin Travis's brother, Jordan, and to his left, Devin's father, Tony. And you can bet they're excited. They got to see the first home run of Devin Travis, and when he got back to the dugout, the Blue Jays were giving him the silent treatment. Nobody wanted to make a big deal about it, and then they did, of course. And boy, what a great memory for Devin Travis.
To play in Yankee Stadium, he walks and scores his first time up, and then to hit a home run. First major league hit, first major league home run.
This is Russell Martin batting against David Carpenter, the right-hander. Russell hits a one-hopper to short. 2 down. David Carpenter, 65 games with the Atlanta Braves.
Another one of those big arms that they acquired in the offseason. He came over from the last pitcher we just saw, Jason Shreve from Atlanta. Former Blue Jay, throws hard, good fastball, good slider. There are his numbers last year for Atlanta. You'll see all kind of strikeouts and few walks from every one of these pitchers that come out of the bullpen for the Yankees.
But it's really important if you're a relief pitcher to throw strikes. You're going to come into a game. Generally, it's going to be an inning, maybe 2. And you don't want to give the hitter an awful lot of information, so throw strikes. There's Batista. Takes it outside. It's 2-0.
Well, one thing that Joe Girardi has done for the Blue Jays is when he has gone to the pen after Tanaka threw just 4 innings, he's brought in pitchers that the Blue Jays haven't seen before. Shreve, Martin, now Carpenter. There's no history now. In a game like today, the Blue Jays can put together a scouting report.
There's a fly ball to center field. Ellsbury shading his eyes. Batista's retired. Carpenter gets the 2 men he faces to close out the top half of the 7th. What a great day for the Travis family. Devin, his first major league hit's a home run. '15 Honda CR-V, Motor Trend Sport Utility of the Year.
It's an easy one. It just happened. How about Devin Travis's first Major League home run? Fastball right down Broadway, and he turns on. He's been doing this all spring. Deep drive to left field. Our drive of the game brought to you by young Devin Travis. How about that look right there?
An image that Devin Travis will never forget. Congratulations to Devin Travis for his first Major League hit. He becomes the first Blue Jay to hit a home run for his first Major League hit since J.P. Arancibia got a home run off of James Shields August 7, 2010 at Rogers Center. So a nice start to a young man's career with his family in attendance.
In Yankee Stadium, how about that? Aaron Luke will take over here in the 7th inning. There are his numbers in 71 games last year for the Blue Jays. Very effective. Lefties hit just 159 against Aaron last season. Righties 235. He's got the fastball, a slider, and a changeup. He can spot that fastball inside and outside. Very effective. He gets the call here in the 7th inning for the Jays. What a job Drew Hutchison did this afternoon.
His first opening day start, he was really effective, and he shut the door on the Yankees. Just 1 run on 3 hits. The only blemish was the Brett Gardner home run. And now he'll turn things over to the bullpen. Aaron Luke first out for the Jays. Chase Headley's a switch hitter. He'll turn around and bat right-handed for the first time this afternoon. Blue Jays lead at 6-1 as we are playing here in the bottom of the 7th. Headley goes after the first pitch. Batista over into the corner in fair territory, makes the catch. 1 out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Thank you, Jamie. Dustin Pedroia has been swinging the bat well all spring. He says he's healthy for the first time in 3 years. Rodriguez takes the first pitch strike.
There's that fastball in on the right-handers right there. He's got that crossfire action. Aaron Luke does. And he can get that ball inside there. That's a good spot for it.
Rodriguez has been aboard twice. He walked in the 3rd and then singled into deep right center in the 5th. Drives this ball to the alley and right, and Batista cuts it off. That ball was slicing back toward the right fielder, and Batista made a good play.
Jose's been very busy this afternoon. Made 2 plays last inning, 2 more this inning, 2 in the 1st inning, another one in the 3rd. Been busy.
His day got off to a great start defensively when he pulled down a line drive off the wall and right off the bat of Brett Gardner in the 1st inning. He's a terrific all-around player. This is Stephen Drew taking a first pitch strike. Luke throws that slider down in the dirt, and that was one thing Luke wanted to work on this spring, was throwing that slider to left-handed hitters.
And being a little bit more effective. Inside, outside, it doesn't matter.
Luke's got to be a nightmare for a left-handed hitter with that crossfire delivery and that 3/4 arm angle.
Tough to pick the ball up, and he can start that breaking ball what looks like behind you because he's got that exaggerated arm slot. Starts it behind you and you give up on it. That time he tried to throw that a little bit too hard.
Blue Jays haven't had a winning season against the Yankees since 2010. There's a little ground ball. Travis comes after it, gathers himself. Easy inning for Luke. 3 up, 3 down in the 7th. Just 9 pitches for the lefty.
Do not want to miss them as they tip off against the Charlotte Bobcats on Wednesday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. The Raptors on Sportsnet 360.
Raptors have had a couple of good seasons the last 2 years, going to the playoffs once again. That's where the Blue Jays have their sights set on the postseason. They haven't been there since '93. Blue Jays haven't won more than 88 games since '93. And that's going to be the number. It'll be upwards of 90 games to win the East, I would think, even though people are discounting the strength of the division. I think it's going to be competitive once again. I don't think there's going to be a real dominant team in the East, but I think it's going to be very competitive.
Yeah, that's the thing. For me, there's just not that dominant team. They say, well, they're the clear favorite because they have this. I think everybody has warts. Each team has warts, some problems, some shortcomings, and I think it's going to be very competitive all summer long.
Edwin Encarnacion has homered here this afternoon. He hit a 2-run home run in that 5-run 3rd inning. Blue Jays have hit 2 home runs, Encarnacion and of course Devin Travis with the leadoff home run in the top of the 7th. Travis is the 4th player in Blue Jays history to hit a home run in his major league debut, but only the 2nd to do it on opening day. Al Woods homered in the 1st game in 1977 against the Chicago White Sox at Exhibition Stadium.
He'll have a lot to talk about.
This is a high pop-up. Foul ground. The third baseman, Headley, is there.
The championship-winning Honda CRF 450R for those who dare to ride red.
This is Josh Donaldson, the third baseman. He's gone 0 for 3. He goes after that first pitch. It's been a good day overall for the Blue Jays. We mentioned the 2 home runs, and from the pitching side of things, Drew Hutchison with 6 strong innings in his first opening day start. Hutchison is the first Blue Jays pitcher to allow 1 or fewer earned runs in an opening day road start since Jim Clancy in 1984. That's a long time ago.
That's a long time ago. Good for him. Now they got to figure out a way to finish it off.
You know, the national media was very critical of the fact that Drew Hutchison was the opening day starter. You and I both felt like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense for the growth we've seen, plus the way the five-man rotation sets up. There were a lot of things that went into picking Drew Hutchison to start.
When, excuse me, Buck, when he was announced as the starter, my phone was getting texts from all over American League. Why is Drew Hutchison the opening day starter? And we saw this about halfway through spring training. There are the numbers this afternoon. A couple of walks, 3 strikeouts, 93 pitches. Just how it lined up for the Blue Jays. Who you wanted to avoid here at Yankee Stadium, Mark Burley. Who you wanted to start the home opener when the Blue Jays get back next week. As Carpenter strikes out Donaldson. Splitting up the young kids, Norris and Sanchez. It was a logical choice to have Drew Hutchison here, and every one of the coaches of the Blue Jays said he's the guy who's ready to step up, who's ready to take the next step in his development.
Yeah, and Burley has lost 12 straight to the Yankees, so Pete Walker said if we can set up the rotation, and you only get 2 chances basically to do that during the course of the year, opening day and maybe after the All-Star break. So Burley said, I have no problem with that. You know, the Yankees I haven't fared well against. So he will open up the series in Baltimore against the Orioles.
Alex Anthopoulos likened it to scripting plays in football. When you start a game, you can run 10, 12 plays that you script, that you practice. It's the same thing that you can set up, for the most part, the first 2 series or so at the beginning of the season.
Russell Martin had a 2-run single in the 3rd inning. He picks up the first 2 RBIs of the season for the Blue Jays. They scored their first runner on the air. Bet you he's more pleased with the work of Drew Hutchison than he is with that 2-run single.
Most catchers are like that, aren't they?
No.
No? They'd rather be an 0 for 4 and get to catch a win?
No, man, he doesn't really care about his own offensive stats.
Right.
He wants to win and call a good game, and he's pretty special in that regard. Navarro hits one off Carpenter's leg. He recovers in time, and David Carpenter retires to the side in order. We'll move to the bottom of the 8th. 6-1 Blue Jays. It's time now for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn.
Against the Tampa Bay Rays April 13th. Now that home opener presented by Honda is sold out. But if you're looking for tickets for the remainder of the series against the Rays, call 416-341-1234 or BlueJays.com. Guys, we saw some great attendance in Montreal this weekend, and it's going to be rocking again on the home opener Monday at Rogers Center.
It sure will be, Barry. R.A. Dickey will be the starter for the Blue Jays, making his home debut against Tampa Bay. Good crowd on hand here at Yankee Stadium today. 48,469 in attendance. Justin Smoke comes into the game defensively at first base, and he can really pick it. That got an awful lot of bat, but Keelan Colbreth is going to send Gregorius to first base.
Boy, it sounded like it got a lot of the bat, didn't it?
It did get a lot of the bat. There's no question about that, but it must have clipped his hand as well. And the umpire never really hesitated. Keelan Colbreth, the home plate umpire.
Fastball inner part. Boy, that was the
elbow pad. That's
that
exactly
made all
what
the
it was.
sound. Listen to this.
Hit the hard plastic elbow pad. That's why it sounded like a bat. And Gregorius is being attended to. He's okay. Boy, he had a scare in spring training when he dove for a ball in the hole at shortstop and rolled over on his left wrist, and it looked very serious. He missed a couple of games, but he is in there for the start of the season. So back to the top of the order. Gregorius aboard, hit by pitch. He's been on base just one time this afternoon. Kobe Ellsbury, the leadoff man, has gone 0 for 3. Yankees have just 3 hits. Look out. Up and in again.
Well, the last thing you want to do right now is try to guide the ball in there. That one just got away and hit Gregorius, and then it looked like Aaron was trying to place that ball in there instead of just throwing it to a spot.
Ellsbury chases that pitch upstairs. It's a ball and strike to the Yankees center field.
Ellsbury's had success against Aaron Loup in the past. He's hit a home run against him. He's going to have to use that fastball for me. That's it. Right there. There's a little hole right there right now for Ellsbury. Keep that fastball above his hands.
Miguel Castro, the 20-year-old reliever, getting loose. He might make his major league debut here this afternoon. Ellsbury caught looking at strike 3. Good bounce back at bat for Loup. 1 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. We are in Yankee Stadium. The Blue Jays have a 6-1 lead. Brett Gardner has accounted for the only Yankee run. He homered off Drew Hutchison to lead off the 6th. Gardner had a terrific season a year ago. He had a career-high 17 home runs. His home run off of Hutchison, his 3rd career home run off the Blue Jays right-hander, and his 10th against the Blue Jays.
Yeah, he only has 41 for his career. So a quarter of them, just about a quarter of them have been against the Blue Jays. He could slap the ball the other way. He can pull it if you make a mistake on the inner half.
Boy, that's a tough pitch to handle. I don't care who you are. That fastball right in on the letters.
I love how he's putting fastball in his mind. Watch where this one is. 93 right under his hands, and he's a little late.
Breaking ball, lazy fly ball to left. Pilar is there. Gardner's retired.
The 2015 Honda CR-V is the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays and Motor Trend's 2015 Sport Utility of the Year.
There's nothing quite like opening day. Optimism sky high for everybody. This is going to be our season. Blue Jays off to a good start. They have a 6-1 lead as the Yankees bat in the bottom of the 8th. Carlos Beltran, a switch hitter. Major League Baseball has done a nice job of promoting the opening week of baseball. There's some great commercials running.
You and I got to see the best one today, huh? I'll tell you, it made my hair stand up.
The Field of Dreams. And James Earl Jones is talking to Ray Kinsella about building the field, and they will come. And then they use Major League players to break down the speech that James Earl Jones was making about why you should build the field, and it is really well done. Boop has bounced back after hitting the leadoff man here in the 8th.
Well, he used his fastball. He struck out Ellsbury with a good fastball. He got the weak fly ball to left field by Gardner off of a fastball. And now he's pitching to Beltran and threw that fastball, that last one, right by him. There's another one.
It's a tough delivery. I don't care if you're right-handed or left-handed, because he hides the ball so well, and then it's 93. It's firm. Pulled foul, and that's what you have to do. You got to go ahead and look for that pitch, but it's difficult to keep that inside pitch fair.
He has that ability to take that fastball, crossfire to the right-handers, and freeze them on the inside part of the plate. That's where I would go right now.
Changeup missed in dirt. Aaron is now 27 years old. He's from Louisiana. He's entering his 3rd full season. He came up with the Blue Jays in 2012 mid-season. Appeared in 33 games that inaugural season. He kind of came out of nowhere, just like Castro and Osuna. Full count, 2 outs. Gregorius at first. He's off on the pitch. Ball 4. Beltran walks. So a hit batter and a walk here with 2 outs. John Gibbons has come out of the Blue Jays dugout. He's got Miguel Castro loose down in the Blue Jays pen. So Luke will turn things over to Miguel Castro. Castro is 20 years old. He's never pitched above A ball. He's going to come into this game at Yankee Stadium. the major league debut of 20-year-old Miguel Castro. He has not pitched above A ball. In fact, pitched just one game in Dunedin. And now he has pitched his way onto this team.
There are his numbers last year in 2014. Good numbers all the way around. He's a big guy with a big arm, and he can command the strike zone. Just 30 base on balls last season to go along with those 78 strikeouts. Fastball that's got good movement to it. He can get it to the bottom of the strike zone, a slider and a changeup. It's a big situation for him right here. A couple of runners on, and Mark Teixeira, the cleanup hitter for the Yankees, coming up.
Castro pitched against the Yankees on March 17th in Tampa in spring training. 2 outs. There goes Gregorius. Russell Martin's with the throw, and he is out. Oh, what a bad choice by Didi Gregorius to get the Blue Jays out of trouble here in the 8th. Russell Martin threw a strike to Donaldson, who was moving toward the bag, and the Blue Jays are out of the inning. Just when the Yankees were knocking on the door, Gregorius runs into an out at third.
Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. It's a special look at a special player, looking ahead to his upcoming season and looking back at his rapid rise through the Blue Jays system. Dalton Pompey on deck Sunday at Sportsnet. And guys, I'll give you a little sneak preview. Had a chance to go to his house when he phoned his parents about a week ago to tell them he made the team. It's quite a moment, and there are many like that in this beautiful documentary they put together.
There is something to look forward to. I'm sure everybody will be want to check that out. So make sure you check it out. New pitcher into the ball game for the Yankees is Justin Wilson, who came over from the Pittsburgh Pirates in the Francisco Cervelli trade.
Needed another arm and a lefty, and he throws hard. He's got an exceptional fastball with life on it and a big breaking curveball. Brian Cashman, the general manager of the New York Yankees, wanted to rebuild that bullpen after David Robertson left. So he went out and he signed Andrew Miller, who throws hard. Picked up Justin Wilson, who throws hard. Got Martin, Carpenter, Shreve, they all throw hard. So he's rebuilt that bullpen for the New York Yankees.
Wilson played college baseball at Fresno State, which has been a long time baseball school, produced a lot of great players. He has spent 2.5 seasons in the big leagues with the Pittsburgh Pirates, 2 seasons, full seasons in 13 and 14. He got 8 games in 2012. Originally a 5th rounder in 2008 for the Pirates. Another big guy, 6'2", 200 pounds, 27 years old. 95, but downstairs. We are in the 9th inning. The Blue Jays did most of their damage in a 5-run 3rd inning against Masahiro Tanaka. And Pompey draws the leadoff walk. This Yankee bullpen got some big arms down there. Dylan Betances was an all-star last year, and he has moved into the latter stages of this bullpen this year.
Yeah, right now, he and Andrew Miller are going to be co-closers until Joe Girardi can figure out what he's going to do with them, depending on the situation. But it doesn't matter. Both of them can do that. They've got some big arms. They led baseball in strikeouts by relievers last year, set a team record for most strikeouts by a relief corps.
Dylan Betances set a franchise record for strikeouts by a reliever, and he broke the record established by Mariano Rivera. Kevin Pillar's had quite a start to his season, 2 for 3. He scored a run and has a stolen base. Blue Jays have just 6 hits. Russell Martin, a 2-run single. Edwin Encarnacion, a 2-run home run. Devin Travis, a solo homer. That's going to be their makeup. Yeah, they can strike quickly. But I really like the way that they had that big 5-run 3rd inning. Number 8 hitter Pillar had a single. Number 9 hitter Travis walked and then turned things over to the meat of the order, top of the order.
Set the whole inning up, took advantage of an error by the Yankees. And then a finishing blow by Encarnacion, a long home run to left field. Making the most of their hits.
Well, it's really interesting, too, when we talk about how many good bats they have in this lineup. Batista and Donaldson are 0 for 8. And they're still ahead 6-1.
Yeah, with 4 strikeouts. But I think you can expect that from the Yankees. You're going to get a lot of strikeouts when you face this pitching staff. You got a bunch of hits like they did in that 5th inning.
Well, the challenge for opposing pitchers trying to get this Blue Jays lineup out, you can focus on, say you focus on Batista and Encarnacion, and then boom, Donaldson can strike. You got to keep Reyes off the bases. He had 30 steals a year ago. Ground ball, foul outside of 3rd. Kevin Pillar came into spring training very focused, and you'll remember, Pat, all the talk in the offseason was, well, Dalton Pompey is going to be the center fielder, and it was almost academic. But Pillar started out flip-flopping with Pompey in center. Cut on and missed by Pillar. 1 down. Time now to check in on MLB 15, the show. Prior to the game, PlayStation provided us with a prediction of who they thought the Blue Jays player of the game would be. Today, they picked Kevin Pillar.
Pretty close also. The show said he was going to go 2 for 3 with a double. He was actually 2 for 4. Didn't have a double, but he has scored a run. He also has a stolen base this afternoon. So pretty close.
Good start for his season. 2 for 4 with a run scored and a stolen base. He can do a lot of things to help you win games. The simulation is powered by MLB 15, the show. Baseball is better, only on PlayStation. Great jump at first, and Pompey steals it easily. His first of the season.
Boy, he timed that perfectly against Wilson. Wilson threw over there, and then he was guessing that he was going to go home, and he went on first movement. No chance for Brian McCann to throw him out, and Devin Travis just goes ahead and takes that pitch and gives Dalton Pompey a chance to get into scoring position. Look at that first movement, see you. No chance for McCann to throw him out. Even with a good throw, he's going to be safe.
I just didn't realize that you'd be back up again.
Runner in scoring position for Devin Travis. He has scored 2 runs, driven in a run with his first major league hit, a solo home run to left field starting off the 7th.
You know what makes him so tough is he can pull the ball like we saw in his last at bat for the home run, and he can shoot the ball to right field. Short swing, not a lot of movement at the plate.
Good breaking ball. That thing broke down under the bat of Travis. 1 ball, 2 strikes in the top of the 9th here in Yankee Stadium. Been a fabulous afternoon. What a way to start the season. Drew Hutchison, 6 strong innings, allowed 1 run on 3 hits.
And the only people remaining want to see like the rest of them.
Opening day crowd of 48,469. Starting to thin out. Of course, last night the Cardinals beat the Cubs in Chicago. Adam Wainwright over John Luster. Colorado, they have a 10-0 lead over Milwaukee, and they're just in the fourth inning. Ball 4, a couple of walks here in the 9th. In case you weren't with us in the 7th, watch this at bat for Devin Travis.
Fastball, and watch how quickly he gets around the bases. He's thinking this ball's off the wall, so he's going to hustle and then sees it's out and says, you know what, I'm going to stay. I'm not going to try. I'm going to sprint around these bases for my first big league home run. Attaboy.
Who's the last Blue Jay to run around the bases like that? How about Scott Rowland?
Put your head down and just sprint, right?
Put your head down. Bouncing ball. Step on the bag at third. Reyes is safe at first. Good hustle. Keeps the inning alive. Reyes hustling down the line. Beats the throw.
Not a real good throw right there from Chase Headley. That had double play written all over it. He just touched the bag, threw it across the diamond, and bounced it over to the Sheriff. He's a former Gold Glover. Just didn't have enough on it. The inning stays alive.
Reyes running well. There was a concern in the 3rd inning as he dropped down a sacrifice bunt. The ball was thrown away down the right field line. He went to second and then was limping into the bag at second. Trainer came out, but he appears to be fine. To aboard for Russell Martin. Catcher's got 1 for 4. And a 2-run single in the 3rd. He came around to score that inning.
Help produce this commercial. It's on the internet or with it. Home is in the air. Home is in the air. Actually, it's kind of exploitive on the deck, but other than that, it's very good.
Ball on the strike. Blue Jays had an up and down season a year ago. They had a losing record in April, June, and August. Winning records in the other 3 months. They need to be more consistent this year. That was fouled off the catcher's mask. Brian McCann. The Blue Jays finished a game behind the New York Yankees in 3rd place in the AL East. Jays were 83-79. As we mentioned, the Blue Jays have not won more than 88 games since '93.
Gibby saw that shot of him there. He thinks his team's better. He was asked today of the pitching, hitting, or defense, which one has improved the most from last year, and he said his defense. And that's going to win you a lot of ball games. He said his starters were good last year. He thinks they're going to be good this year. They've got plenty of hitting just like they did last year. He said, but we feel like we've really improved our defense. And I think if you've improved your defense like that to go along with the other 2 parts of it, your win total has to go up.
The Orioles won the American League East by 12 games. The Blue Jays had a better run differential than the Orioles. But The Orioles have Gold Glove defense. You see the standings. Baltimore had a terrific season. They were 30 games over 500. And the only difference, really, when you look about it, their home runs were about the same. The pitching was about the same. The big difference for the Orioles, the way they caught the ball.
And they didn't give away runs that were so important. You play good team defense, you're going to win games.
There's a big trend in baseball for teams to pay close attention to defense. It makes pitching staff more aggressive. If you have good defense, pitchers don't feel like they have to miss bats.
And that's not just errors. It's throw to the right base. It's line up the right way for your cutoffs and your relays. And when they give you an out on a bunt, you get the out. You just play good team defense. You do that, you're going to win ball games.
Justin Wilson has walked the bases loaded here in the 9th. And he has put the Yankees in a tough spot. He will reluctantly turn the ball over to Joe Girardi, not exactly what he envisioned. Esmil Rogers, the former Blue Jay, will come in to pitch to Jose Bautista with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Former Blue Jay Esmil Rogers is into the ball game. You can see his numbers from a year ago between the Blue Jays and the Yankees. He appeared in 34 games overall.
He's always had a big arm. He has spent some time in Colorado and Cleveland, New York and Toronto. The big arm fastball slider. He is the 6th pitcher of the afternoon for the New York Yankees.
In his time with the Blue Jays, he made 27 starts. He was a swing man. They used back and forth in the rotation whenever they had a need. He inherits a tough situation here. 2 outs, bases loaded. Jose Bautista 0 for 4 so far. Blue Jays have a 6-1 lead here in the 9th. Another breaking ball.
Little backup slider right there for Bautista. Looking for that big hit to really break this thing open.
Rogers knows Jose is a fastball hitter, and he's thrown him 3 straight breaking balls.
Now you can try and expand that strike zone just a little bit more if you want to with that breaking ball. There's 2 breaking balls that he has for strikes. Look where they are in the strike zone. They're up. They're mistakes.
Batista caught looking. Rogers comes in and strands the bases loaded, but it's all Blue Jays here on opening day in New York. 6-1 as we head to the bottom of the ninth.
Russell Martin and a 2015 season preview. Rogers and Shaw Sportsnet 1 customers can also download it for free. Visit sportsnet.ca/magazine for details. And Buck, what a memorable weekend it was for Russell Martin in Montreal.
Well, it sure was, Barry, and I'm sure you got to see a lot of family and friends. And certainly we saw the two great moments with Russell Martin Sr. and his son during that great weekend. It's been a good day for the Blue Jays so far. Miguel Castro was able to get out of the 8th inning as Didi Gregorius broke for third base. Russell Martin threw him out to Indian. So Castro will work to Mark Teixeira, who was at the plate when Gregorius took off on that ill-advised attempt to steal third. I mean, you got a left-handed hitter who can leave this ballpark. Teixeira pops it up, high fly ball left field. Pilar is there.
Yeah, I was surprised with a home run hitter batting left-handed in this ballpark that you even attempt to try and steal third base. But the Blue Jays will take it. Castro records that out without retiring a batter.
He gets Teixeira to pop out to start the inning. Brian McCann has gone 1 for 3, the catcher. Boy, the big thing about Castro that we saw through the spring, he threw strikes.
Yeah.
And, you know, people told me today, and they were trying to get a scouting report on Castro. And they say, yeah, but I think his fastball is straight. I said, I haven't seen him throwing a straight fastball all spring.
Those are the two things, Buck, that really stick out for me when I watched Miguel Castro for the first time this spring is his fastball command. He can throw strikes with his fastball, his slider, and his changeup. And then the movement he has on his fastball. Just 20 years old.
How about that? Quick strikeout. Castro's first strikeout will be Brian McCann, his first major league strikeout. That breaking ball catches the outside corner.
Wanted that one down and in, but he caught enough of the corner as McCann gave up on that breaking ball. 97 with movement.
And it's an easy 97. He's not trying to overthrow. I mean, he's making quality pitches with that fastball. This is Chase Headley, the third baseman. Headley's gone 0 for 3. Yankees have just 3 hits. The only run on the board came on a solo home run off the bat of Brett Gardner back in the 6th. Boy, I tell you what, it can't be a whole lot of fun right now. Look at the shadows creeping across home plate, and you got a young man throwing 97. Hard to pick up that baseball. 1-2. Home plate in the shadows. Bright sunshine out on the mound.
Yeah, plus he's never faced Castro before. All he has is some tape or some word of mouth of what he throws. This guy was an A-ball last year. So there's not a lot of information out there on him.
Full count, 2 outs. That'll do it. The Blue Jays win the opener. Miguel Castro has a game to finish as he closes out the 9th. It was a good effort all around for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, you got to see a little bit of everything from the Blue Jays. 6 solid innings from Drew Hutchison to get the opening day start. You saw the home run bats. You saw Russell Martin get a 2-run single. Encarnacion goes deep. Devin Travis goes deep. Blue Jays play good defense, and then the bullpen finishes it off. So this is what they were doing when they were thinking about when they put this team together. Everybody contributes for a big opening day win.
Good win all around. Devin Travis with his first hit. It's a home run in his Major League debut. The next game will be Wednesday night. We'll be right back here at Yankee Stadium. Stay tuned. Sportsnet Central with Hazel May coming up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you Wednesday night.